Hey, today I'm in the hot seat here in my tying room. We've done a little makeshift tie up for today to film one of our very favorite flies, the balanced leech, that we use in the Uintas all the time and other places. Really, this is one of our favorite flies that when you arrive at a new lake and you're not sure what the fish might be on, tie on a balanced leech and the odds are decent that you're going to find fish. We love to tie this one and dangle it right under the indicator, and it's easy to fish and is good to find fish with. So as you're exploring and you get out and find new water, this is a great one to always have in your box. We have in the vise today a number 12 barbless jig hook. So we'll get started here. Really simple. We'll get our let's see, what are we using today? We got the Nano Silk from Simperfly as our thread. So we just give it a nice initial lay down of the thread and get that baby going. The thing about a balanced leech is, and this is the hook, if you will, or the trick of a balanced leech, is you extend out this jig hook to the front. We just take a regular old embroidery pin, just like that. We're going to cut that down to size so that the idea is that's going to poke out just like that, so that you've got a nice balance on that leech. And that's going to help it so that it floats horizontally, not floats, but rather sits horizontally in the water underneath our fish. I might have cut that one just a little bit short. We'll see. First one of the batch, so we'll see how we do here. With these beads, I like to actually do the small bead, the small opening of the bead towards the back of the fly. So leaving the wider opening towards the front. And I'll show you why I like to do that here in a second as we wrap this forward. And you just build a little dam right there to hold it. I like to dam that up at the front so that kind of holds firm. And as we add in material, that'll actually grab hold. And that's why we don't like it to pop out like that. Let me go back and we'll do a little bit more. But this pattern with the orange bead in particular, everybody has their favorites, but the orange is really great because you've got the mimicking of an egg-sucking leech is really what we're going for. So we'll start out with tying in the tail. I don't have my favorite marabou, but I'm dealing with kind of this black marabou is going to be our first color. We're going to do this two-tone. We're going to have some black, and we're going to also add in some of this awesome burgundy color here as well. I like the two-tone. This is a pattern that the guys over at Fly Fish Food do really well, and so props to them and shout out to them for really this pattern that I like, and that's where the two-tone idea comes from, at least as far as I know. So we'll grab some black and tie it in real quick as we work through that. And this particular batch of marabou is not my favorite just because the fibers aren't quite as long. I like a little bit of a flowy or longer tail, so what we'll do is we'll use some of the burgundy to go a little bit longer on it. And just trim that black out of there. And we'll tie in the burgundy. So we're going to use, I'm just going to tie it right on that way, just like this. And I don't love those end fibers. So as you can see that, a lot of guys pull out those end fibers that are also even. So I'm going to do that and get rid of those. And it gives it a little bit of a more natural, uneven look. Do those now. Set that right on top. Kind of pull back the excess. This on a size 12, you don't need a ton of material, and it's always my temptation to tie on more material than you really need for these flies. And I have a tendency to bulk them up even more than I probably should or ever intend to, because it is really easy on a size 12 hook to do that. But you just tie in that tail, looking good right there. So you got those two tones happening. And then I like this Flashaboo to tie into the tail. This is a one that I've been using for a while, and it just gives enough of a flash in that tail that I like how it kind of spices things up a little bit in the tail. So I do it just simply by matching that back here, wrap it around the jig, and get myself together here, right there. Hold that in there just like that, and give it a nice wrap all the way up and all the way back down. So we got a nice, fairly even body here on this one. It's looking pretty good as far as that's concerned. Keeping it nice and consistent. So the next step here is we're going to build a dubbing loop to throw in some of our leech dubbing. So dubbing loop, simple as can be. Like to wrap that around the finger, tie it back in right here, right at the tail, and then we work our way forward. Just tie that off. My tool of choice for the dubbing noodle is this guy, our claw. So we'll load in the dubbing here. Now, a couple of different dubbing types here. This is the diamond dub, Arizona diamond dub, firecracker flavor, one of the favorites, and we'll show that off here a little bit. And this is, again, this is one of those areas where it's easy to overdo it on the materials, but I'll try to be disciplined here and do that. So this firecracker blend is really cool, and I like how this one has just that little bit of flash, or actually quite a bit of flash, and it's that balance between the purple and the black. A little bit of red in there makes it really awesome. So I'm going to show you one of my tricks that I like to do to kind of simplify this step as well. I'm going to go ahead and get this dubbing loop loaded with all of this. And then right at the very end, and this is again, props to Cheech over at Fly Fish Food for this one, but I mixed my own dubbing following his recipe to get this blood, more of a red, really cool dubbing mix, made out of some of that red squirrel. So what I like to do with this is put it right at the top, or I guess here at the bottom, what'll end up being the top of the fly. So by adding that in there, you can see how that loop is looking. Just adjust just a little bit here, maybe. Anyway, you can see how that'll kind of give us a little bit of color, a little bit of action on that dubbing loop. So then you just give this the good old twist, get your dubbing loop going. And you can see it pulled in my tail fibers there, but that's okay. And then before we wrap this, and give it a little brush out. We're going to flare that back to give us that nice semi-seal look. Okay. So now we'll use the rotary function on the vise. Peel this baby back. Oops, forgot a step actually to help the durability of this guy. We bring in a little Zap-A-Gap and get some of the super glue going, which just a light coating of super glue on the shaft here. That'll tie all this together. Helps just keep it durable. Get more fish out of each of these flies. So with that super glue in there, then you can just twist this baby on there, and this is where the bulk can happen. And you can see, even with that, even though I was aware of it and I was trying, it's a little bit bulky, but not too bad. So right there, I'm going to just grab that, twist that up to the top. You can see how that red pops right at the top, which is cool. So then I got that tied off. I'm going to go ahead and clip that out. Get both of them. And then we'll go ahead and, simple as that, this is where we're going to just whip finish it out. And then we'll give it a brush, and there's your fly. So I like to do, you know, 4 or 5 turns. Sometimes I'll use a red thread, which kind of helps get the hot spot going there, but just like that. Cut it out. I'll touch this with just that little, actually before we do the final touch of super glue, I like to give it one brush with the brush, get that baby nice and flowy. Love it. And then we'll do one light touch right there with the super glue to just kind of seal it all in. So there's your balanced leech in firecracker with an orange head. Check this one out. That's a fish catcher all day long. You float that under your indicator in the still water, and we use it on the rivers as well, and it is absolutely killer. Tie some of those up, or hit us up. I sell these on the website, so I'll tie you a dozen of these. We'll get them shipped to you along with any other flies that you might want for the Uintas. We do a combo box, and I'll build you a box that'll be great for the Uintas. That's what we know the best, and we can help you out. Enjoy.